The brain drain in Indianapolis is officially underway, and the timing could not be worse for a young quarterback's development. I have been tracking the movement in the coaching circles for the last few days, and Jim Bob Cooter is now the primary target for a major head coaching opening. This move threatens to dismantle the continuity Shane Steichen has worked so hard to build in this locker room. But before we break this down, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that like button. We are trying to hit our goal of 1,000 subscribers, so please support the channel. I want to get straight into the technicalities of why this matters so much for the Indianapolis Colts. When you look at the progression of an NFL offense, especially one centered around a generational but raw talent like Anthony Richardson, the relationship between the offensive coordinator and the quarterback is the single most important variable in the building. Jim Bob Cooter has been the steady hand behind the scenes, bridging the gap between Shane Steichen's aggressive play calling and the day-to-day mechanical development required for a dual-threat signal caller. News broke just 5 hours ago that a rival team with a promising head coaching vacancy has officially placed Cooter at the top of their interview list. This is not just a standard inquiry. My sources indicate that the interest is mutual and that Cooter is viewed as a high-level candidate who can replicate the offensive efficiency we have seen in flashes here in Indy. Historically, Jim Bob Cooter has always been a coach who maximizes the talent at his disposal. We saw it years ago in Detroit when he helped Matthew Stafford reach a new level of efficiency, and we are seeing it now with how this Colts offense handles RPO concepts and vertical passing threats. If he leaves, the Colts are not just losing a coordinator, they are losing the architect of their weekly game plans. I have spent years analyzing coaching trees, and the Steichen-Cooter pairing was designed to be a multi-year project. To see it potentially fractured after such a short period is a massive blow to the organizational stability that Chris Ballard has preached since he arrived. The reality is that the NFL is a copycat league, and when you show innovation, teams will come to raid your staff. This promising head coaching job being linked to Cooter suggests that the rest of the league sees the Colts' offensive design as the blueprint for the future. I am looking at the metrics, and the way the Colts have utilized 11 personnel to create mismatches in the run game is something Cooter has mastered. Without him, the burden falls entirely back on Steichen, who is already managing the massive responsibilities of being a head coach in this league. We have seen what happens to head coaches when they lose their primary sounding board. The play calling can become predictable, the adjustments in the second half slow down, and the young quarterback can find himself caught between two different teaching philosophies. I have seen this movie before in other franchises, and it rarely ends well for the sophomore quarterback. The technical aspect of Cooter's departure involves the passing game progressions. He is the one who handles the intricacies of the route trees and ensuring that the timing of the dropback matches the break of the receiver. If you bring in a new voice, you are essentially asking Anthony Richardson to learn a new dialect of the same language. That leads to hesitation. In the NFL, hesitation leads to turnovers and sacks. I am deeply concerned that this news represents a significant hurdle in the Colts' path to AFC South dominance. The team's future direction is now at a crossroads. Do they promote from within to maintain continuity, or does Ballard look outside for a fresh perspective? Either way, the departure of a coordinator like Cooter is a vote of confidence in what the Colts are building, but it is a double-edged sword that cuts deep into the team's immediate potential for success next season.
Continuing this analysis, we have to look at the ripple effect this creates across the entire coaching staff and the front office. When a coordinator of Jim Bob Cooter's caliber is poached, he rarely goes alone. He will likely look to take position coaches with him to fill out his own staff. This is where the real danger lies for the Indianapolis Colts. I have seen coaching staffs gutted in a single offseason, leaving a head coach like Shane Steichen to start from scratch with a group of assistants who are not familiar with his specific terminology or expectations. Chris Ballard is now in a position where he has to play defense. He has to convince his remaining staff that Indianapolis is the place to be, while also scouting for potential replacements if the inevitable happens. The search for a new coordinator, should Cooter depart, will be the most defining moment of Steichen's tenure so far. I am looking at the landscape of available coaches, and there are not many who possess Cooter's specific experience with high-mobility quarterbacks. This is a niche skill set that is in high demand and low supply. From a technical standpoint, the Colts offense relies on a very specific synchronization between the offensive line's blocking schemes and the quarterback's read option timing. Cooter was the one drilling those details every single day on the practice field. If you bring in someone who wants to implement a more traditional West Coast system or a heavy gap scheme run game, you are essentially negating the progress made by the offensive line over the last year. I have talked to scouts around the league, and the consensus is that the Colts have one of the most unique offensive identities in the NFL. Changing the coordinator midstream is like changing the pilot of a plane while it is still gaining altitude. It is risky, it is stressful, and it requires a level of precision that most organizations cannot handle. Furthermore, we must consider the locker room impact. Players like Michael Pittman Jr. and Jonathan Taylor have built a rapport with this coaching staff. They trust the system because they have seen it work. When you remove a key figure like Cooter, that trust can begin to waver. I have seen veteran players become frustrated when a new coordinator arrives with a different personality or a more rigid approach to the game. Steichen's greatest strength has been his ability to relate to his players, but he needs a coordinator who can handle the granular details so he can focus on the big picture. This news of Cooter being linked to a promising job is a testament to the talent in the building, but it creates an atmospheric pressure that this young team does not need. I am keeping a close eye on the interviews scheduled for next week. If the Colts do not act quickly to identify a successor or offer Cooter a massive incentive to stay, the transition could be messy. I believe the future direction of the franchise depends on how Ballard and Steichen navigate this coaching carousel. They cannot afford to get this wrong. The development of Anthony Richardson is a fragile process, and he needs a consistent voice in his ear. I will be monitoring the waiver wire and the coaching candidate lists daily to see who the Colts might be targeting as a backup plan. In conclusion, while it is an honor for the organization to have their staff recognized, the practical implications of losing Jim Bob Cooter are severe. It forces a reset that the team was not planning for. We have to hope that the foundation laid over the past year is strong enough to withstand this level of turnover. Make sure you stay tuned as I continue to break down the film and the rumors surrounding this developing story. This is a critical juncture for the Horseshoe, and the decisions made in the next few weeks will resonate for years to come. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that like button. We are trying to hit our goal of 1,000 subscribers, so please support the channel. I will see you in the next one.